How to use Bob for maximum value. Why should you listen to me? Well, I play Ash too much. That's just the truth. So she is my second most played hero under Soldier, and Soldier I've got 300 hours on, but on Ash I've got 218 hours. I don't have it in a screenshot here, but I'm currently like M4, I think. I've luckily been D-ranking. I've been on a terrible loss streak, but it's chill. I'm like M4, something like that. You can see my stats over here. 51% win rate, 18 kills per 10, 6 per 10. Could be low, but it's chill. 10k damage. But what I'm trying to say is that I play this hero too much, so I know what makes a good Ash player and what makes a bad Ash player. But obviously today I'm going to be talking about B.O.B because I've been focusing on B.O.B lately in my own gameplay. So, what are the three biggest mistakes that I see Ash players make when they use B.O.B, and also how to fix them? So the three mistakes are poor timing, waits too long to use B.O.B, or doesn't wait long enough. They use B.O.B from too far away, and they don't put B.O.B on and off angle. So these three are really bad because having poor timing, where if you don't wait long enough, then you're using it too early, and the enemies are already in good positions because there hasn't been a fight like going on, and they're able to just sit in their position, shoot B.O.B. They're able to use their cooldowns because the fight hasn't gone on, and so they haven't used any cooldowns. For example, a very common cooldown is Ana sleep dart. If you don't wait out long enough for that sleep dart to go, then she's going to sleep B.O.B, and then it's going to be completely useless. Because whilst he's asleep, enemies can rotate away from the B.O.B. But also, if you wait too long to use B.O.B, then he's going to be kind of useless because of the same reason where the fight's probably kind of over already, and they're just going to be able to either wait out B.O.B and then push the objective, or they're just going to be able to kill B.O.B because you don't have enough teammates alive. The second mistake is using B.O.B from too far away. So the reason why this is a mistake is because when you use B.O.B from really far away, the enemies have time to react because they can see him running down the map, and it's unlikely that he's going to hit anyone, and two, it's unlikely that he's going to actually be able to shoot people because he's taken so long to get to where you've put him that the enemies are going to be able to rotate to cover and just play on an angle where he can't shoot them. And number three, no off angle. This is really bad because if he's not on an off angle, he's not putting up enough pressure. Now this sounds kind of vague, so I'm going to go through examples later on in the video, but you want him to be on a separate angle from the rest of your team, or else he's going to get no value. So how do we actually use B.O.B for max value? Well, we want to try to give B.O.B a nice wide angle so he can see a lot. Like you don't want him to have like a 30-degree angle. You want to give him like a nice wide maybe not obtuse. What's the angle where it's like bigger than like 90 degrees but less than whatever. You you want B.O.B to have a nice wide angle so he can see a lot of the map and he's not obstructed by like walls and shit. Two, you want to make sure he's on and off angle. And three, you want to use him mid-fight. I forgot to put an eye there, that's chill. You want to use him mid-fight because this is when CDs are likely to be used, and more importantly, the CDs that are going to be used to stop him or kill him really fast. And because it's mid-fight, people are probably going to be slightly out of position, meaning you're actually going to get your value from B.O.B by using these two. So we're going to watch these videos, or watch this video, and this is going to be about why you want to follow these three rules. So remember, wide angle, off angle, using mid fight. I want to preface in this fight, the Ana has used sleep dart, and I am aware of that. So that's the only thing I want to say. I know that Ana has no sleep dart, and then other than Ana, there's no one who can really use a cooldown to kill my B.O.B. So let's just watch. Ignore my really amazing positioning, right? The important thing is our B.O.B. So let's see B.O.B. He's on and off angle because we have Sim here, me and Monkey are up here, and then I've got two teammates down here. So he's on and off angle to the enemies, which are all clumped up over here. He has a wide angle. He can see a lot of things. He can see this whole area over here. No one can actually contest cart right now. And three, I've used him mid-fight where people are kind of out of position and Ana has no sleep darts, so he can't be stopped. And then like I die, but you can see he's shooting. This whole time he's shooting because he's on and off angle and he's in a position where it's just annoying for the enemies because they have to be here. right? So he's just always shooting, always shooting, always shooting. And he didn't really get a kill, but he got Tracer killed. I think he got Sojourn killed as well. Yeah, like he's just constantly shooting. Anna can't play where she wants to. Anna has to play on the left side of this pillar, which means she's open to getting shot at by my Winston because the Bob will shoot her if she tries to go over here because he's on an off angle. He can shoot the Tracer because he's got a wide angle, so he's just going to shoot Tracer. And even though she's nanoed, she can't do much. Anna dies because of the Bob. Sojourn died up top, that doesn't count. So yeah, you could just see how much like pressure he's putting out. He's shooting that entire time. So that's why you want to follow these rules. So now that we know the mistakes that make a bad Bob and what like rules you want to follow to have a good Bob, I'm going to show you some in-game examples. Also, if you want personal coaching, make sure to check the link in the description. Or if you want more information, DM me on Discord. Okay, I am gonna play the clip. I want you to see if you can see the main mistake I made. So go back to the slideshow if you've forgotten, and then look at the mistakes. There's timing, no off angle, and using them from too far away. I want you to see if you can figure out like the main mistake I made here. So, what do you think the mistake was? Right, so the mistake is that I used Bob too early. And the reason why it was too early is because if you were paying attention, you can see that the Zarya is coming back. So we're not really in a real fight. Like, yeah, people are shooting and we're poking, but this isn't like a real fight. The fight hasn't actually started yet because, you know, like they don't have a tank and we don't have a sim. So like there's no real fight. So me using Bob here isn't good because they can move back because like they're not in a fight, like they're not committed to trying to make something happen. They can just back up because the fight hasn't even started. And also because there's been no fight, the Anna had sleep, which means my Bob would have been negated of value anyway. And because they were able to back up so easily and just shoot my Bob, he just dies really fast and that's it. And now that I don't have Bob, they can push forward with their full team and actually start the fight. So what I should have done was wait for the Zarya to come back, wait for her to move forward a bit. Maybe like I could use it right now, put Bob in the same position, and now it forces them to have to make a choice. Do we walk forwards to try and like shoot the Bob, or do we just stay back and let Bob shoot our tank because she's in? Would have gotten a lot more value had I just waited a little bit because like now the Zarya is just fully in, and I would have saved my Zen from having to use trans. And it just would have gone a lot better because like you see how we're actually in a fight now. The Bob going on this off angle would have been really good to just distract and do a lot of damage. So on to the next example. All right, this is another example of me using Bob a little too early. Because like the Bob is fine, like it's on an off angle and it's got a wide angle to shoot the Ryan and the Mei, but if I waited for the Mabel to be used, this Bob would have gotten like way more value. Like I think he still gets like a decent amount of value for like what it is, but it would have done way more if I waited a little bit for the Mabel and then used it in this same spot. Because then I would have done a lot more damage to the Mei and stuff. Like yeah, you know, I forced out Ice Block, kind of forced out Coalescence, but it definitely could have been better had I waited for that cooldown to be used. So here, this is an example of a really unfortunate Bob that would have been really good. So as you can see, I'm on the top of here. They use sleep, so I know that that's like their main cooldown to sleep against my Bob. Now obviously, like I know they've got like you know turret, form, wall, but I can't think about getting all of those out. The main threat is gonna be the Anna sleep here. So I force out that. I go to Bob. But unfortunately, the second I Bob, he also ults. So my idea was to put Bob right here. If I put Bob here as we're pushing the cart, it's gonna force people to either have to contest and get shot at by my Bob from an off angle, who also has a really wide angle to see like anywhere over here, or make them back up and allow us to cap for free. But unfortunately, the Sigma happens to ult right then, and then he gets booped off the map. But he does kill their Sigma. It's like, you know, I still got value. But it, like, imagine how good it would have been if the Sigma didn't flux like that early. I could have had the Bob over here. He just would have been wreaking havoc. And a really important part about using B.O.B is putting him on an angle where you can also see the enemies he's shooting at. So like, you create your like own off angle. It's like I'm on an off angle, and then I put B.O.B over here. So now he's on an off angle, and there's just so much pressure, so much damage being put out that it's really easy to kill enemies. You know, also just like a little thing that I've just thought about. Maybe instead of looking at this ball over here, I could have gone on the right, shot at the Bastion maybe, but he's got a lot of health, so maybe not. But yeah, if that flux didn't land, the Bob would have been over here. It would have been perfect because it would have been mid fight. They used sleep, so they couldn't sleep my Bob. He would be on a really good off angle because he's here shooting people this way, whilst I'm shooting people this way, and he has a nice wide angle so he can see many people. And it's even good because if this Bastion wants to be able to shoot my Bob, he has to walk into the Bob and like into our LOS to even do damage to the Bob. And then he's got to make a choice. Does he shoot the Bob or does he look over here and shoot my team? Like he can't do both, right? So this would have been a really good Bob. Like I hope you can see it. This would have been a really good Bob, but obviously he got fluxed. It's unfortunate, it happens. You can't predict everything. Alright, so here's an actual good example of using B.O.B. So it follows the 3 rules, and I'll also explain the impact it had on this fight, sorry. And we actually did end up losing this fight, but it's for a pretty good reason. So let me back up. You can see us in the back over here. You know, we're just poking, waiting for my tank to get back. So she used spear, and she used javelin spin. That's like my 2 main cooldowns that I don't want the Arista to have for my Bob, because those are the 2 ones she can use to stop it. So I see her use cooldowns because we've kind of officially started the fight. So I use Bob. Like, and it's not too far away. He's able to run in and kind of sit in his position pretty quickly. And now he's got a nice off angle. It's nice and wide. He can see a lot of things. And what this Bob does is that it makes my Lucio, or my Lucio, it makes their Lucio beat. So you see, he hears the Bob, he sees the Arista's low, she's backing up because of my Bob. Then he beats, so I force out this cooldown. And then so yeah, like they beat Blade, right? That's fine because I forced out the beat. The Genji used Blade because he had beat. But my Bob is still kind of shooting. He's forcing this Kiriko to play really safe. He's shooting the Lucio. So, like, they have no supports right now. Like, yes, we kind of lose this fight. But I think the idea of the Bob was good. I waited for them to use cooldowns. I used it mid-fight. Put him on an off angle where he can shoot a lot of people. It just so happens that they use 2 arts. Kind of because of my Bob. So, yeah, we lose that fight. But I think the Bob was good. And that's all that matters. Okay, I found a good clip here. So, I'm blue team. As you can see, they're playing like full dive. This is full dive Ilios well. So a way I like to use B.O.B against like full dive, for example, is I like to just place B.O.B directly on top of someone who's diving me or my teammate, right? So you can see here my hand is in trouble. I try to help her with B.O.B, which is fine, you know. I use it. I wanted to try and get it in the room, but because there's so many people there, I end up just hitting someone. Lucio dies because he gets booped up. And then, do you see what happens to their team? As soon as I Bob here, they're all like, wait, I'm fucking getting out of here. You see how they all split up immediately? You know, ball's gone, Venture's gone. Like they're not trying to fight in there. But it's too late because I've forced them out of position and into a place where they don't want to be, which is where my teammates are. And then my Genji's able to follow up. And like, yes, my Bob can't really shoot much for now. But because, do you see the angle he's got? It means they can't play like in this lane, which makes it really uncomfortable for this ball to play and this Kiriko. Because they have to play here, they have to play here. But then, I use B.O.B as sort of like an anchor point. And I go on the right side to off angle. And then I can just shoot for free. Because the B.O.B will shoot them if they're caught like in this lane, which is what he's doing to the Kiriko, which forces out the Suzu. And then the Tracer tries to go on my Genji, so he dies. And then my Bob's still shooting. So you see how much value my Bob got? Because it was like a two-step process, right? It was crap. I see a bunch of people on my Ana. But because he ended up in such a good position, he could see so many angles, right? He can see over here, up here. He can see all the way over here, all the way over here, into this room, over here. Like, he just has a lot of angles. This is what a wide angle means. He just has so many angles to play from. And he's kind of just in the middle of them. And he's on an off angle because obviously you can see Bob's here, Genji's here, Diva's here. A free prong attack. And the Venture gets fucked. She has to run away from my Bob so my Genji can kill her. And then, as I explained before, they can't play over here because the Bob will shoot them. And because I've got another angle over here, and he's on an off angle, he shoots Tracer, he dies, the ball makes the same mistake, and he does the Bob. Do you see how much value I got? Just because initially I was like, wait, I need to help my teammate. But it also ended up being on a good angle because of how many separate lines of sight he had. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and show you one more. Alright, I've got one more example of me using Bob. And it's a very good example as well. So you can see that I'm over here under the bridge. I throw Bob under here. Okay, so let's analyze. First, do we have a wide angle? Well, yes, Bob can see a lot on the map. He can see a lot of things. Okay, that's good. Okay, number two, is he on an off angle? Well, we're over here shooting people, and my Bob is on this side shooting people. So yes, he's on an off angle. Now, it is kind of mid-fight, but they didn't use sleep this whole time. I don't know what this Anna's doing. I'm pretty sure she had sleep, but this whole time, I'm not really too sure. Yeah, she had sleep this whole time. She just didn't use it. Whatever, right? I couldn't wait on sleep because they were close to capping, as you can see, and because I used the free rules mostly correctly, you know, Bob is able to shoot a bunch of people. He shoots Genji, which forces out his deflect. He gets nanoed, but then you can also see he tries to shoot Kiriko, and then because these guys are on the right over here, he's able to shoot them as they're coming into the fight. So like they're literally coming into the fight low HP. He shoots Bob, he shoots Venture. Venture has to use Dig. He's shooting Anna, and he's 1 HP now. So she has to play a really weird angle. And because she's 1 HP and I see that, I'm able to peek her from wherever the fuck I am, over here. I'm able to peek her from this off angle and kill her. And then from there, Bob is just shooting whoever he can, so right now it's the Genji, and then he goes away. So this was a good Bob, because he's on a wide angle, he's on an off angle, and it wasn't really mid-fight, but I had to use it because we were down teammates, and they were about to cap, as you can see. Like, if you see the situation, like, we're down teammates, so my Hog's over here, and then he dies, I think. Now he doesn't die, he does. So yeah, because we're down teammates and they're so close, this is like an exception, like I'll say to make, because if you don't use Bob, then they're probably gonna overwhelm you, and then you're not even gonna have a chance to win the fight because it's gonna be like a 4v5 or something. So that's it for this video. If you want more coaching, check the link in the description. I've got a full fundamentals course, and I'll be making hero guides over time. Plus, I do personal coaching calls for some of the first founders, because I don't have any members yet. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.